Hi there, and thanks for tuning in for another episode of Math with Mullins. Today we're going to be talking about lesson 2.4, and this is the first part because what we're going to be focusing on today is how to multiply and divide fractions, also considered rational numbers because we're going to be seeing some positives and some negatives. Today in your notes you're going to be writing down 7 things. Let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we want to make sure we understand about multiplying and dividing rational numbers in the fraction form is that you're still going to be using those same rules as you did for integers, which is monkey man. Remember, it's a circle cut into 3 parts, eyes for negatives, positive for mouth. Go ahead and pause the video right now and then click play when you're ready to go on. If you're not sure about monkey man, you need to maybe go back to look at lesson 1.4, and that explains a little bit more about it. The next thing we're going to write down are the steps for multiplying fractions. When you multiply fractions, you have to make sure that you have one numerator and one denominator like this, a over b. What you can't have is a mixed number, so you have to change all your mixed numbers to improper fractions first, multiply straight across, and then simplify. Go ahead and take time now to pause the video, click play when you're ready to go on. This next two you're just going to watch me do. Again, remembering the rules from Monkey Man. The first one, we don't need to change anything into an improper fraction, so I'm just going to multiply straight across. 8 times 3 will be 24, and 9 times 4 will be 36. It will be a negative because I multiplied a positive times a negative. I also need to make sure that I can simplify, and both 24 and 36 have 12 in common. So that's going to give you 2/3. Negative 2/3 is my answer for the first one. Over here on this right hand side of the screen though, I have a mixed number and I also have just a whole number. I will need to write both of these as an improper fraction. So I'm going to do this for the mixed number. 7 times 1 plus 3, that's going to give me 10/7, negative 10/7. And then 2, or this negative 2, I'm just going to put it over 1, so negative 2 over 1. Now I can multiply straight across, step 2. 10 times 2 is 20. 7 times 1 is 7. My answer will be positive because I've multiplied a negative by a negative. And I just need to change this improper fraction back to a mixed number. 7 goes into 20 twice with 6 left over. So my answer for this second one is 2 6/7. These next few you're going to try by yourself. So let's go ahead and pause the video, try it, and then click play when you're ready to check. All right, here we go. So the very first thing you should have done was change to a mixed number, or change to an improper fraction any mixed numbers you have. I'm going to change this 2 1/8. 8 times 2 plus 1 is 17. So I'm going to have negative 17/8 and then 3/8 over here. Now I just need to multiply straight across. 17 times 3 is 51, and 8 times 8 is 64. This will be a negative number because you're multiplying a positive by a negative. And 64 and 51 can't be simplified, so it's actually going to be our final number. The next thing we're going to talk about is just how to review dividing fractions. Remember, whenever you're dividing fractions, you're basically multiplying by its reciprocal. So you're changing it to a multiplication problem and then flipping that second fraction. Flipping the second fraction just means changing it into its reciprocal. Okay, so still technically multiplying here, but you have to do something called copy dot flip, and I'm going to talk about that on the next page. This is where we're going to be pausing the video after I'm done writing. The steps for dividing fractions, the same thing as first that we did in multiplying, is changing mixed numbers to improper fractions. The second thing we'll do is copy dot flip. That's also the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal. Step 3 will be just to simplify. Go ahead and take time to pause if you haven't already. Copy down steps 1, 2, and 3. When you're done, click play to see what happens next. So here's one you're going to watch me do. We have the fractions negative 9/2 divided by 7/5. Okay, I don't need to change any mixed numbers to an improper fraction, so I can go into step 2, which is copy dot flip. Copy means copying negative 9 squared, or 9/2. A dot means I'm changing it to multiplication, multiplying by the reciprocal, and flipping means I'm going to change 7/5 to 5/7. Now I can get ready to multiply straight across. Negative 9 times 5 will be negative 45. 2 times 7 will be 14. Now I just have to figure out how I can simplify this. It doesn't look like 45 and 14 have anything in common, so I do need to come over here and figure out how many times will 14 go into 45. 14 can go into 45 3 times, because 3 times 14 is 42, and we have 3 left over, so my mixed number will be negative 3 and 3/14. The next 2 or 3 you're going to try by yourself and then check, so let's go ahead and pause right now and then click play when you're ready to check. Alright, here we go. For number 5, I don't have to do any changing of mixed numbers, so I'm going to do copy.flip. Copy negative 6/5 dot, and then flip to be negative 2/1. Multiplying straight across, I get 12/5. 5 can go into 12 2 times with 2 left over. Will be a positive because I did negative times a negative. Over here for number 6, though, I did need to fix that mixed number first. So I'm just going to copy down the 1/3 in the division symbol and then figure out what this mixed number is. 3 times 2 is 6, and 6 plus 2 is 8. So 8/3. Negative 8/3 will be my fraction there. Now I can show my copy.flip. Copy 1/3 dot and flip to negative 3/8. Multiplying straight across, so I get negative 3/24, and then simplifying both of these by 3 to get it in lowest terms, negative 1/8. How did you do? Last one, doozy, because you've got 2 mixed numbers, so you do have to change 2 of those mixed numbers and then do copy.flip. So let's go ahead and pause the video. When you're done, click play to check your work. Alright, here we go. The mixed numbers changing to improper fractions. This one will be negative 26/5, and this one over here will be negative 7/3. All I'm doing is multiplying the denominator and whole number, and then adding the numerator. Next, I can show my copy.flip. So negative 26/5 dot and flip 3/7, and then multiplying straight across. 26 times 3 is going to be 78, and then 5 times 7 will be 35, and that's going to be negative. I do need to change this to a mixed number because I don't want an improper fraction as my answer. 35 will go into 78 twice with 8 left over. So my final answer here will be negative 2 and 8/35. This is going to conclude our video, so just make sure you have 7 things written down, and let's go ahead and get started on our next stack